All right, guys, welcome to the SAP Engines channel where we're going to be doing some work here. I don't know, he thinks everything's funny. So, all right, you're going to be seeing engine dynos, hopefully not any engine failures, but, shit happens. What else? Machining custom parts. There's going to be we'll put some truck bone videos in there every once in a while. Like I said, engine build, stuff like that. So, we're going to go over some of the first things, which is going to be for the Boosted Ride YouTube channel. Obviously, I probably look familiar. Jason, he looks familiar. You can remember him. He's a big boy, so.
That's what she said.
All right, well, let's get to it, and let's start off with the first things. Alright, so as you see there on the Haas, we went ahead and cut the O-ring grooves into the backside of this front motor plate. I don't think I showed any of the other stuff, so I apologize. We'll try and get more stuff on GoPro here as we go forward so you can see some of the process. Now those ports are going to match up with the 3 ports. So this is water, water in and then water out. And the reason we had to do that is because this motor plate's obviously going to block all of that off. So that's going to fit up just like that. And since we blocked those off, we went ahead and drilled. Don't get too close, Nate. We don't want to show them these crappy welds here, but...
I didn't weld it.
Well, yeah. Looks good from your guys' house, hopefully. So I welded these on the front cover. So we're going to have the lines for the coolant going in behind the motor plate. And then on the front of the motor plate, we're thinking up here where this O-ring groove ends, which is right here, we're going to put, what, a dash 16? We'll just weld a dash 16 bung on there like what this is here, right on the front of that, and that's going to go straight to the radiator. So that's everything with that cover there. So now we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, so now we just got done machining the crank hub. So we went ahead and had a new crank hub made. And if you can see here, it's got our same 6-bolt pattern on there with the receiver groove for the blower hub, or the blower pulley. I don't have one of those sitting around here, but that'll fit right inside there to center it. And on the back side here, it's actually got the teeth cut in there. Do we have one of those belts here?
What? So
we cut these teeth in here because of the dry sump pump. We'll move over to another area, I'll show you. So these teeth are going to match up to this, what this is this is our external dry sump pump. It's a 3-stage. So you get 2 suction lines off of the pan.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep. And then these return it back to the tank. And then this belt, now, this is going to go on the motor. This will be the front. This is behind, back to the cover. And this is going to drive off the back side of the blower pulley now. They don't make these things, guys. So this is a custom part, guys. This is Gen 3 Hemi stuff. And you just don't find this stuff. So, especially if you're wanting to put a blower on there, I think Alky Digger maybe listed some stuff on their website, but I don't know, Jason, you called them up and they kind of acted like it was listed, but they don't do it. So, custom parts here. This is what we do. Don't have any footage because this was outsourced as far as the outside stuff. We cut the teeth here. But yeah, that's what this is for dry sump, because this was the original one that we had brought in with no teeth. So there you go. There's the difference. Cut the teeth on it and made it work, and that cured 2 problems with 1 stone. We got our hub, and now we can run dry sump behind it. Otherwise, this is what we'd be dealing with. To give an example, this would go, well, here's our blower pulley we're talking about.
Is that all teeth?
So now this would go onto here in the groove. Now, if you were wanting to run this on your motor, this is a mandrel out the front of your motor. So typically this would bolt to your harmonic bouncer. And then in front of here, you could extend the shaft out as long as you needed to. We're going to run a fuel pump. So that would go on here. And then we're also going to be running power steering. So now that would be on here. And these are all keyed on here, obviously. And then we'd have space for 1 more. And then you'd put, a nut on the end or a bolt. There's a little piece here somewhere, but basically holds all these on there. Then you could run your 3 things on there. So you'd be sticking clear out here in front of your motor. And we're talking, the block is clear back here. You'd have to mount this dry sump pump a long ways off the front of the motor to actually get this lined up with that. So that's kind of some of the issues we run into. Now we're gonna have to make some stands to get this lined up, which we'll be working on in the next video here, but there's a little demonstration, kind of show you exactly what we got going. Hopefully that explains that. So we also went ahead, I had these made out of steel. Oh, here's one. But the issue with these, when we had them made, you know, whenever you cut material with a plasma or laser, you get kerf in the cut. So what I mean by kerf is this cut is not 100% straight up and down. So I went ahead and got some aluminum. I did not record this at all, so this was one of the first things that we made before we kind of thought about making this. But this is 6061 aluminum. It's a 1/2-inch plate. Now you can buy these parts from Aeromotive. This is like a $150 bracket, so I thought I could make it cheaper, so we kind of copied the design. Sorry, Aeromotive, but it works. So this is our pivot point, and then your slider. And then this is going to get mounted onto the front motor plate that we showed as well. So we're going to be making some spacers just like this, and we'll be doing that here in the next, hopefully the next video as well. I'd like to get all this stuff mocked up on that motor plate. Aeromotive 12 gallon per minute mechanical belt driven pump to keep this Gen 3 Hemi, keep it alive with lots of fuel. So as you've seen at my shop, I took this back there and went ahead. This is gonna sound crazy, guys, but when you want power, the things you gotta do. The scribe marks are kind of gone on here, but basically, I welded up the O-ring grooves. We're gonna plane this back off and make it smooth back down to the same level. That way we don't mess up this O-ring groove here, but what is happening is the runner port opening does not match up directly with the head opening, but to open up, I believe it was this side, I can kind of see the scribe mark right here. It just matched up with the edge of the O-ring groove. So the O-ring groove would have started here and been out to here. Well, we need to port this out that much further, and your O-ring groove's gone. So went ahead, welded it up, machine it off, we'll port match it, and then I'll take the profile that we already copied, wrote it down, and we'll cut this back into every one of these, so that way the O-rings that came with the intake will go back in the intake. So basically just, I think it was almost like the intake needed to be squeezed in, or one way or the other, but both sides are off exactly the same way. So that's welded up. So I'm not sure if we'll do that in this next one or not, next video or this one, but we'll machine this off. We'll get those cut in there after my brother gets that port match to the heads. And then the last thing you see me weld up there was this oil pan, which we took a cutter. We cut the bottom section of the pan off this section, and then I hand milled all of this down to get this at this level. And then as you see in there, I went ahead and welded this back up. There was an oil drain plug here. I welded that up, kind of just took the flap wheel to that, and then I also went ahead and kind of filled it in on the inside here just a little bit. That way I could grind the outside off. But yeah, this is basically taking a wet sump pan and shortening the bottom to turn it into a dry sump. And the reason why you want the pan so short is so when we put the fittings, I'm not sure which side are we going on here. This is driver, so we're going to go on the we're going on the driver's side. We're going to be putting fittings here, which I don't have with me, but fittings right on the side, 2-12s, which are going to go from that resuction side of the pump. And you want this shallow so that way the oil gets to the suction side of the pan as quickly as possible. I bet we milled out probably, what, 4 inches of this pan?
Probably 6 to 9 inches.
Yeah, 6 to 9 inches, somewhere in there, of this drop down to get this up there. So like I said, 2-12 ORB fittings, and Jason's got to get some screens ordered. We're going to put screens inside the tube, so if, you know, something were to happen, catastrophic failure, get material down in there, you don't want to suck it into the pan. That's something that we need to do on a couple other motors as well.
Surprised you didn't weld
I
all
thought
across
about
there.
it, but I'm not going to lie. I water tested it, and
good.
it sat there for 3 hours and didn't leak a drop. So
It'll still leak.
yeah, well, hopefully not after it has a hole in it. So, you know, custom stuff like this takes time, and it took me a while to mill that off. So let's hope nothing happens. Okay, so as you've seen, Jason went ahead and tore the motor down there, and this is everything we got. So now, to answer some questions for some people, when we put this motor together, you know, when it's your personal stuff, you're willing to take chances, and we were kind of rushed last minute, so that's a natural thing around here with our own stuff. If it was customer stuff, it'd be a different story, but we take chances, and that's why this motor blew up a couple times. Well, it blew up once, technically. We were trying to run cast pistons, the factory ones, and blew the wrist pin out. So then we went with these used pistons, so everybody knows this is already on there when we put them in. We're Jason and I are kind of tightwads when it comes to engine builds. So this block was bored out, what, 115 thousandths on a stock 5.3 just to run these because we had them laying around. So these are maul pistons with a 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter O-ring groove. We got hooked up with Total Seal, so I talked to the guys there. They gave us some recommendations, and honestly, in the end, we got rings from them, but they're going to be way better than these. These are basically like a stock replacement ring, and I don't know, Jason, when you tap the pistons out, they pretty much fell out. So,
basically.
I mean, I don't know if they're losing some of the springiness or whatever, but they're cheap rings. So to answer your guys' questions about why we're losing blowing oil out, I hope this is the answer. I'm not 100% confident, but definitely putting cheap rings in your motor is probably not the best idea when we're pumping about 24 pounds of boost through this thing. Everything else looks good. So it got caught in time. The brand new scat rods all look good. The bearings had just very little material ran through. So just a little bit there on the bearings. But I don't know, we're going to put new in, or like I said, we like to risk our own. So we're kind of tightwads, so I think we're going to run them again. Yep. I'm not going to lie.
Hopefully it's a spare here pretty soon.
Yeah, the intentions are, this is cathedral port heads here that my oldest brother ported out for us. Got a lot more flow out of these heads, but in the end, they're still cathedral port. Jason's got a 6.0 rectangle port motor laying on the other side that I'd love to build, but, you know, cash is always one of those things. So eventually this will become a spare. So I don't want to stick a lot into it. And we got diamond pistons here, I think, sitting for one of the 6 liters. So they're sitting here, run a stock crank, get some rods. Actually, no, we don't have rods. We got pistons, we got the crank. I mean, we can throw something together and we can port those heads out. We got a flow bench and stuff here to help with that stuff, but that'll be in the future. But at this point, that's where we're at with the LS. Hoping to have it together this weekend. Maybe we'll have a video on this as well. Got a lot of things going on. We just got to decide which direction we're going here. So stay tuned for the content, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, just our first video here. We're just kind of dipping our toes in. We got a lot of stuff going on in the shop here, and I'm not here every day, so you guys comment down below and tell Jason he needs to pick up the camera and actually record something. And I can always do the talking over it, but that way you guys can get some pictures or video of stuff that we're doing here, because a lot happens, and it's hard to pick up a camera, guys, and record this stuff, so, and then edit everything and try and get it out there. But we want to share it with you guys. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure you share it with everybody. Let them know about the new SAP Engines channel. If you're here on SAP Engines first, make sure you check out Boosted Ride, where you can see this stuff, get the crap beat out of it. So, all right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again.